Yo, Saksez seekers! Welcome to Max Saksez, where numbers make sense and math is less stressful. Bago tayo magsimula sa lesson natin today, let's talk about variables. So, ano nga ba ang variables? Simple lang to. Ito yung mga bagay na nagbabago sa isang equation o experiment. Parang mood mo, minsan happy, minsan stress sa math. Pero promise after this hindi na. At syempre, ang topic natin today is independent at dependent variables. But first, here are the objectives for today's lesson. Number 1, we have to define variables in research. Number 2 is to differentiate independent and dependent variables. Third is to recognize the relationship between independent and dependent variables. And lastly, is to identify the independent variables in given examples. Introduction? Check. Objectives? Check. Now we can start our lesson proper. Palalimin naman natin ang definition ng variables. Sa research, variables are any characteristics that can take on different values, such as height, age, temperature, or test scores. Researchers often manipulate or measure independent and dependent variables in studies to test cause and effect relationships. The independent variable is the cause. Its value is independent of other variables in your study. Independent variables are also known as predictors, factors, treatment variables, explanatory variables, input variables, x variables, and right-hand variables because they appear on the right side of the equal sign in a regression equation. In notation, statisticians commonly denote them using x's. On graphs, analysts place independent variables on the horizontal or x-axis. The dependent variable is the effect. Its value depends on changes in the independent variable. The dependent variable or DV is what you want to use to the model to explain or to predict. The value of this variable depends on other variables. It is the outcome that you're trying to study. It is also known as the response variable, outcome variable, and left-hand variable. Statisticians commonly denote them using a y. Traditionally, graphs place dependent variables on the vertical or y-axis. Para mas magets and mas maalala natin ang kanilang pagkakaiba, ang independent causes change habang ang dependent naman shows the effect. Dito may examples ako. Identify natin kung ano ang dependent at independent. Example number 1. The more hours a student studies, the higher their sum scores. The independent variable or IV is the hours of the study, while the dependent variable or DV is the exam score. Since test scores is influenced by study time, it is the dependent variable. While study hours are independent because they are set by the students and not affected by the exam score. Example number 2. Increasing the temperature of water makes sugar dissolves faster. IV is the water's temperature, where DV is sugar's dissolving time. Hotter water speeds up the dissolving process, while colder water slows it down. Since dissolving time changes based on water temperature, it is the dependent variable. Example number 3. A plant grows taller when given more sunlight. The IV is the amount of sunlight, while the DV is the plant height. If a plant gets more sunlight, it will likely grow taller, meaning the plant height is the dependent variable. Sunlight exposure is an independent variable because it is the factor being changed. Example number 4. More time exercising leads to a greater weight loss. Dito naman, ang IV is the exercise duration, while the DV is the weight loss. More exercise generally results in greater weight loss, so weight loss is dependent. The exercise time naman is independent kasi it is determined by the individual, not by weight loss. Kung nahihirapan ka pa rin, meron pa tayong isa pang simpleng paraan kung paano silang ma-identify. Ask what is being changed or IV and what is being measured as a result or DV. And that concludes all Saksez seekers. Variable. Ito ang anumang bagay na sinusukat o pinag-aaralan sa isang research o experiment. Independent variable, ang nagpapaliwanag o naging impluwensya sa ibang variable. Karaniwan ito ang kinokontrol o binabago sa isang pag-aaral. Dependent variable, ang resulta o epekto na sinusukat. Nagbabago ito depende sa independent variable. Sa madaling salita, ang tamang paggamit ng variable ay mahalaga sa pagsusuri ng data at paggamit ng tamang interpretasyon sa research. Kung nag-enjoy ka sa lesson na to, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe para sa mas maraming matrix at explanation na hindi nakaka-nosebleed. Kita-kits ulit sa next episode, Saksez Seekers!